Hey everyone, it's Ben Hardy here, and in today's video we're going to be going over a 2021 Jeep Cherokee with the Latitude Luxury Package. But first and foremost, a huge shout out and thank you to the Dodge Ram here in Provo for giving me some time with this Cherokee. Check out their inventory link below. Let's get straight into the video. Under the hood, we have a turbocharged 2-liter 4-cylinder that goes through a 9-speed automatic transmission. Fuel economy is 21 around town and then 29 on the highway, with power outputs being 270 horsepower and then 295 pound-feet of torque. Now let's go to the front end of the Cherokee. So first off, you've got the signature Cherokee hood, and if you're running this color, it's called Sting Gray. And then coming down below, you've got the full LED lights. I love how the projector bulbs look with the LED accent light. And then coming down below that, we've got the fog lights. And then notice you've got the chrome here with the signature Jeep venting there at the front. And then you have a sensor there at the very bottom. But other than that, there is the front end, and it's pretty basic for a Cherokee. Coming around the side here, we've got two 25mm tires wrapped around 17-inch wheels in the front and over in the rear as well. And they did kind of like a basic chrome design there with the wheels, which I think looks really good with the overall theme of the Cherokee. And then you've got the black plastic molding that kind of goes all the way down the vehicle. You get your chrome Cherokee logo. And then notice that you've got the silver there for the bars at the top. And there's your full side view. Now popping here into the back, storage space is really good. The loading floor is actually pretty far down here, so you actually get more upward storage space. And then you get a 12 volt there on the side. You can fold down the seats for even more storage space. And other than that, things are pretty simple. So press the button and wait for it. Takes a second, and then you got to wait a little bit longer, and then it's closed. Now let's finish things up with the rest of the rear. So popping here to the lights, you've got the full LED lights that kind of come around here into an arc. You've got the Latitude Lux badge right there. Parking sensors all along the bottom. And then you've got the coverings over the exhaust, which I think look really good, especially with the shape and design. But other than that, that's everything for the back of the Cherokee with the luxury package. Now let's pop into the rear here. So first off, you've got the leather padding all over the door panel here with the stitching that goes across. And then coming here to the back seats, full leather here with the perforated leather in the center. And then you've got the stitching there down the sides. And let's actually pop in. So stepping in, pretty easy to get in here. Ooh, these seats are comfy. Headroom is actually really good. It's really high up. And then your legroom's pretty decent as well. Got a couple vents down there. Got some USBs with a full power outlet. And then pulling this down, we've got some cup holders, and that's all for the back. Now let's go over the door panel here in the front. So again, you've got all the leather here with the stitching all across, window controls in that area, and then the adjustments for the mirror, giant speaker for the sound system. And then here's the front seat. I love the headrest here. Got the Jeep logo there at the top, more perforated leather. Bolsters are very large, really nice. And then notice you've got the adjustments there on the side of the seat, and of course, you've got a helicopter. But anyways, aside from the helicopter, pedal layout here at the bottom, and then you've got the light control there on the side with the release for the tailgate. The steering wheel is manually adjustable, and there's one more look before we pop in. Here's the steering wheel in the Cherokee. So first off, you've got the soft touch leather wrapped around the entire steering wheel, and then you've got the darker stitching there in the center. Cruise control on this side, and then you got the controls for the center stack on the other side with your voice command phone controls. Radio controls are on the back. Got the turn signal stock, and then you've got the windshield wiper stock on the other side, and that's all for the steering wheel. Here's our center gauge cluster. So first off, you got the RPMs on the left side. On the right side, you've got the speed, and then you do have this center screen, which you can scroll through a couple different menus. Like you can see the fuel economy, for example, trip info, all that kind of stuff. Just everything that you'd ever want to know on the vehicle, you can see in that center screen, and I think it definitely has a nice modern look to it. Here's the center infotainment system. First off, we're going to pop it into reverse. You guys can see the backup camera popping up. You do have the trajectory lines that turn with the steering wheel, and then popping it back out, notice that with the infotainment system, response time is pretty good. It's just this screen right here, so there's no like scroll back and forth function. But in this Lux package, you do get heated seats and a heated steering wheel, which is nice. And then it does come with dual zone climate. But other than that, that's everything for the center screen. Down below, we've got our parking sensors here with your hazard lights and then the lane departure. And then down below that, we've got our analog controls for the radio. That's to turn off the auto stop start, and then that's for the stability control. And then your dual zone climate controls are just down below that. And we've got the shifter here for the 9-speed automatic. It does have a manual shift function if you want to shift the gears yourself. Got a USB and an auxiliary right there in front of it, 12 volt there on the other side. And then our drive mode select here. So notice that you've got your auto, snow, sport, and then you've got your sand and your mud, and you just twist the dial to go, and they call it the select terrain. But yeah, that's kind of how that whole section looks. Oh, and we've got the electronic parking brake. Couple cup holders right here, and then we got the center console with leather on the top. Opening it up, you've got storage on the top, and then underneath you got even more storage. And then here on the dash, notice it's soft touch, and then there's stitching, and with the Cherokees you get more storage here on the top of the dash. Tons of storage with this. And then opening this up, got a regular glove box, and well, that's all for that area. So let's pop up to the very top here. We do get a sunglass holder, just a traditional mirror. Lightly, wait, there we go. And then lighter colored headliner. Now that we're done with the interior here on the Cherokee, let's quickly get into the pricing. So in terms of pricing, this sticker is for about $35,000 before any type of market adjustment. That all being said, let's take her out and see how she drives. Well, let's quickly talk about visibility before we set off. So first off, visibility over the hood is pretty much just like any other Cherokee. It's really easy to see out of, if you're wondering. Average for an SUV. There's your visibility through both the mirrors. They do have blind spot monitoring. And then here's throughout the rest of the rear, which again is average for an SUV of this size. And let's set off. We are setting off here in the Cherokee Latitude with the Lux package, and I really like this package actually. I feel like it's definitely a nice, I hate to use the word budget, but a more budget-friendly luxury version of the Cherokee, if that makes sense, versus having to go for the Limited or something like that that's a little bit more expensive. First off with the Cherokee, I actually drove a Grand Cherokee right before this, and you can feel a substantial handling difference. I mean, obviously it's expected. This is significantly smaller compared to a Grand Cherokee, and we get to see how that 2-liter turbo does. That thing pulls really well. But yes, you can definitely feel a substantial size difference between both of the vehicles in the handling characteristics, especially the front end weight. The Grand Cherokee I drove had the 5.7 Hemi, whereas this one has the 2-liter turbo, and you can definitely feel the difference between the two from a size perspective. Now going through that, handling's really good. Definitely has a light, small, nimble feel to it. I really like how it feels, again, from a handling perspective. And then kind of coming around this little part right here. Yeah, nice. The steering's very direct with the Cherokee, and I'm gonna wait a second and then we're gonna do our brakes so you guys can see how the brakes are. These people probably think I'm crazy because I'm braking so hard. Yeah, brakes on it are really solid as well. So at first impressions, it's doing pretty good. Now we're gonna get our acceleration here. And by the way, I am in the sport mode if you guys are wondering for the drive mode, and we'll see how she goes. Ooh. That is quick. That is really quick. You definitely do get a little bit of turbo lag, but once you get into those turbos, this thing pulls, and it pulls hard. Sport mode keeps it in a lower gear, so you're at higher RPM so that you can get up and move at a quicker rate. Gonna let this person kind of walk by. And again, like I said, the brakes on it are really solid with the Cherokee, and this will kind of show you guys the visibility there through the mirror with people kind of passing by. With that, now that that gentleman is across the crosswalk, we can get up and move again. Almost feels like it torque steers a little bit out of that. Definitely can feel a little bit coming from the front end. I mean, it makes sense. These are front wheel drive based, whereas the Grand Cherokee is rear wheel drive based. But let's sum things up with this Lux package and the Cherokee in general. And the 2-liter engine. Should you get any of it, right? So first off, let's start with the Cherokee. Again, I like how it drives. It's nice, it's smooth. Literally just feels like a tiny Grand Cherokee, and that's really what it is. That's why that's the Grand Cherokee, and that's why this is the Cherokee. Exterior styling, I think it looks really good, nice, modern, and sleek. The 9-speed automatic, I think it's good. It shifts quick, it's nice. I would just leave it in the automatic mode if I were you, unless you're going down a canyon and you want to be in a lower gear. And then from the interior, I like this Lux package. You get the nice stitching on the dash, you get really nice comfortable seats. They hold you in place nicely, but then they're wide enough that they're not uncomfortable in the bolsters, and they're very soft to sit in. And then from the engine perspective, should you get the 2-liter or should you get the 3.2-liter V6? I'm sure that's a question for a lot of people. Now, what I would say is, If you want something that's going to be a little bit better at higher altitude, which is where I'm at, 4,500 feet elevation, I'd recommend the 2-liter. It doesn't get as much power loss as the V6, but understand that it's not going to be as linear as the V6. The V6 has a more linear power band, whereas this, you do get a little bit of turbo lag and then it goes in. So you just have to expect that from a driving perspective, that it's going to feel laggy off the line, but once you're up and moving, it feels pretty quick. Whereas the V6, again, it's more linear, but it doesn't punch as hard. This definitely has a torquier punch to it, is the best way for me to describe it. So it really depends on what you're looking for from a driving experience perspective. In terms of fuel economy, here's the thing from my experience with owning cars that are larger engines with more displacement versus smaller engines with less displacement and turbocharged. With the larger engines, typically at higher speeds, like on the highway and all that, they typically will perform better, is what I've noticed. They don't die off as much, and sometimes you can even get better fuel economy on the highway and when you're accelerating. But around town, and if you're not accelerating hard, if you're just lightly getting into the throttle, the turbocharged engines seem to do better. So it depends on your driving style. Again, from my personal experience with owning several types of vehicles with different types of engines, that's what I've seen. So depending on what you're wanting from an engine perspective, that'll determine. I think they're both great engines. I would drive both of them before you pick one. But for a place here like Utah, I think the 2-liter turbo is the way to go. Now that's going to sum things up for our video on this 2021 Jeep Cherokee Latitude with the luxury package. Again, a huge shout out and thank you to the Larry H. Miller Dodge Ram here in Provo for giving me some time with this Jeep. Check out the inventory link below. I'll see all of you in the next video.